Hello guys, Flanker here with another daily dose of news from the PTR server. There is not that many updates today, but I still decided to share them to keep you fully informed. Many thanks in advance for your likes and subscriptions, and without further ado, let's begin. In the previous video, I completely forgot to mention one minor but important update. It is now possible to DM other players by simply right-clicking their name in the chat window. A small step for man, a giant leap for mankind. Next, we have a few minor updates and fixes for the naval system. Caravels can no longer be launched from anywhere in the world, only from harbors, which kinda makes sense. Also, sinking animation has been added for caravel ships. I haven't seen it with my own eyes yet, but someone wrote in chat during testing that it looks pretty cool. Deconstruction kits are now available for players to craft at any arcane engineering station. To do that, you'll need 3 new materials which can be obtained by processing tier 1 resources. According to a player who tested them, you end up getting 12 kits per craft. He also salvaged some items and shared his observations. First of all, upon salvaging an item, you get the materials required to craft it, and their rarity matches the rarity of the salvaged item. He also reported getting from 1 to 4 materials when using a kit on chest pieces and pants. For gear pieces that require fewer resources to craft, such as bracers and gloves, there was a chance of not receiving any materials at all. Secondly, it was possible to salvage an item of any rarity using just a common kit. Also, the tester didn't notice any difference when using kits of different rarities. At this point, we can only speculate about how it will work in the final version, and I see 2 potential options. Either the rarity of the kit should match the rarity of the item, or using a higher rarity kit will give back more resources. Overall, I see 3 consequences of the introduction of deconstruction kits to the game. The first is that, due to the simplicity of the recipe, these kits will most likely become the best way to power level arcane engineering. Second, since salvaging returns processed resources, it creates an alternative way to obtain mats like ingots or tent hides, even if the appropriate processing station has not been built on the server yet. And finally, low rarity gear or gear with bad stats might no longer be completely useless. Moving forward to the next update, Turquoise Sea and Sensual Desert will have more recipes for various artisan skills. By the way, what I've been wondering about is whether the list of resources required to complete buy orders in the new nodes will eventually be updated. Logically, I would expect that to happen, but I haven't seen any mention of it anywhere so far. Maelstrom's Crown and Wispwell can now drop for hunting. If you're wondering what they look like, well, here they are. Visual effects have been updated for dead coral and volcanic rock. As for gatherable corals, they can be found not only on islands, but also on the sea bottom, though this can be quite tricky. The problem is that in some places, the depth can reach 30 to 50 meters, and after mining a coral, you might simply not have enough time to get back to the surface. And that got me thinking, could we eventually see some kind of potion or other consumable in the game that allows players to stay underwater longer? And by the way, speaking of the seafloor, I was not the only one who noticed that in some areas it looks really cool. So definitely check it out once the map expansion goes live on the servers. Some good news for all those who have been eagerly waiting for the Rogue archetype to finally be added to the Alpha 2 servers. Several issues with the Shadow Step ability have been recently fixed. Speaking of Rogue, there was a funny moment when I was just minding my own business and my attention was caught by a pair of dual daggers casually running past me. So I really hope that at some point both stealth and camouflage will also apply to equipped weapons. Next, we have some general fixes, one of which states that characters can no longer equip a ship hull to a caravan, which on its own already sounds pretty amusing. And here is a fun fact about the oak ship hull that was available on the PTR server. Crafting it requires 500 oak timber. That might not sound too bad at first, but just imagine for a moment crafting a legendary one. In the previous video, I mentioned the new gatherable resources that can be found in the newly added territories. After my last session on the PTR, that list has expanded a bit, and I've highlighted in color everything that wasn't included in the previous video. Another change after the first round of testing for the expansion is that all the new territories are now visible on the map, no more blacked out areas. Also, while sailing the seas on a caravel, I discovered the names of several new nodes. In addition to Wind and Sea, there is also Shorefoot, Corin, Bright Barrel, and I also heard someone mentioning Sea Hook, though I haven't found it myself. There is also a location called Eastern Turquoise Sea Harbor, but I'm not sure whether that will be a separate node or not. Last but not least, while checking my skill book tab in the weapons section, alongside dual daggers, I noticed another new weapon, the two-handed spear. Looks like this might be the next weapon to be added to the game. If this video was interesting, please consider supporting my channel with your like and subscription. I am Flanker, and I'll see you soon.